Cell Behavior, Section 1. Most of a cell's behavior can be understood as a cell's efforts to maintain homeostasis. In this presentation, we're going to look at how a cell behaves and how its behavior helps it to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintaining conditions that are necessary for life, keeping things as much as can be controlled within the limits of what is healthy. Think of it as too hot, too cold. These are outside of homeostasis. Homeostasis is just right. So here's a cell just trying to do its thing. What would interrupt its homeostasis? Not enough or too much water? Too much or too little sugar? pH changes? Signals from another cell? Temperature changes? Any of these could disrupt homeostasis. And the cell then must respond to these changes, which creates its behavior. Stop and think for a minute about things in your environment that stress you out when the changes happen. And how do you react to help get back to normal? When you're ready, you can unpause the video and continue. The phenomenon we're going to examine in this particular presentation are extremophiles. These are organisms that live in the harshest environments. Take a few minutes, pause this video, so you can watch the short video on extremophiles. Make sure to list 3 examples given in the video, some adaptations those extremophiles use to survive, and 2 ways the video describes that studying extremophiles may help humans. When you're finished, come on back to this video and we'll continue. We have 2 images here to help you understand homeostasis. In the first image that you see, I'm going to make these a little bit bigger. There we go. We see a human and temperature range and water percentage range. And you can see that homeostasis exists within those ranges. There are certain set points, if you will. And that human behavior, at least our physiology, the way our bodies work, can be understood by trying to maintain those conditions. In the second image, you see homeostasis is like a balancing act. There's a control center within the organism that will receive the information from its environment that tells it a change has happened. And then the control center will send out a response to that change to help correct the imbalance. Using these definitions of homeostasis, the conditions needed for the cell or the multicellular organism to survive, what does homeostasis mean? Homeostasis means responding to changes in a way that allows the limits of factors needed for good health. Each cell, whatever kind of cell it is, has a toolbox of chemicals, chemical reactions, and physical structures that it can use to respond. Now, they'll be different depending on the different types of cell. A specific example is turning genes on to guide protein synthesis and make needed protein machines to do active transport, to move molecules in and out, or maybe to increase or decrease energy production or making molecules, increasing or decreasing digestion, or even using adaptations like contractile vacuoles. Remember those from when we studied protists? What are the basic life processes that a cell can use? To help you, don't forget the acronym STIR and GIR. Do you remember it? The S stands for synthesis, the T for transport, the E for excretion, the R, there are three of them, we'll do respiration first, then the N for nutrition, the G for growth and development. Then we have two more R's, and they are regulation and reproduction. So here we see Stirringer one more time, and some labels to match what these words mean. Take a minute and try to match up the labels, then come back here and check and see how you did. Synthesis describes making things, like chemicals. Transport is all about moving things. Excretion is about getting rid of waste products. Respiration, which we studied in the last presentation, is about producing energy. In order to do that, cells need certain nutrients. Nutrition is about acquiring those nutrients. Growth and development is a large part of what a cell might do with some of those nutrients. Growth is increase, whereas development is change. And as we're looking at homeostasis in particular, responding to the environment or regulation is reacting to those changes. And reproduction, creating new cells. To survive, a cell's internal conditions must stay within the correct range for that cell. And as you saw with extremophiles, some cells have very different ranges from others. But whatever the cell, it must regulate things like water, nutrients, chemical reactions, temperature, and pH. So what are the environmental conditions we're talking about? Well, the environment is anything in the area surrounding the cell, and that will depend on the cell. It might be blood, air, water, or even other cells. In a previous presentation, we studied the plasma membrane, which is again pictured here. Do you remember the plasma membrane? It's especially important to homeostasis because anything that comes into the cell or leaves the cell must cross the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane has proteins embedded in the membrane that help it transport things in and out of the cell. Most of the cell membrane, the plasma membrane, is made up of phospholipids, and their structure is great at preventing certain things from getting inside the cell or things that shouldn't be leaving from getting outside. The outside is the extracellular fluid, whereas the inside has a fluid that we call cytoplasm. Now this just shows a section of the plasma membrane. Remember that it would actually wrap all the way around the cell, floating on top of the cytoplasm. So what would happen to the membrane if the cytoplasm shrunk? Well, the membrane floats on top, so the membrane would also reduce to follow the cytoplasm on which it floats. And we're going to see exactly that happening later on in the presentation. Until then, I hope you have a great day and that this was helpful. See you soon.